People often misunderstand what the Insurrection Act does. It does not do. It does not give the president absolute power. It does not allow him to declare martial law. It's not as broad as sometimes people imagine it is. He is someone who likes to have the visible club. He likes to have the threat on hand. He likes to focus people's attention on the fact that he could be much meaner to them than he's being currently. People ask, what are the chances that Trump will actually invoke this? They used to say in chess that the threat is stronger than the execution, and the insight there is that if you actually follow through on the thing, you may not be able to disconcert your opponent as much as when it was just hanging over them. My name is Walter Olson. I'm a senior fellow at the Cato Institute at its Robert A. Levy Center for Constitutional Studies. I've been writing about law for a long time. The Insurrection Act is a very old federal law. It can be traced to 1792, and it's changed its name since then. But the idea is to give the president certain powers to send in federal force against local insurrections and riots. So it gives the president in particular a very important power to override the laws that usually prohibit use of federal troops to do local policing. It was famously invoked during the big Los Angeles riots in the Rodney King case. And Los Angeles had extensive rioting for days, which did massive property damage and truly was out of control as far as the ability of the local police to do. And that was less controversial because the extent of the rioting was so dramatic and extreme. The president invokes it by declaring that its terms have been met to unlock the power to create the right kind of emergency. And there are three different ways he can do that. He can do it if he is asked by the governor of his state. And that will sometimes happen. It could happen in our situation now, but it's not the situation, obviously, in Portland, Oregon, or Chicago, Illinois, that the governors have asked. They haven't. So that leaves the other two ways in which he can invoke it. If the courts are closed, basically, so that routine business can no longer be taken to the courts, including the arraignment of people who've been arrested and all those sorts of things. In that extreme situation, there is an insurrection, the president can use it. He probably is not going to rely on that because the situation in these cities has not reached the point where the courts are closed. The third one is the one that he's likely to use, and that's the broadest one. That one does not require that the courts be closed. It says that if the president determines that people are obstructing the operation of the law or of law enforcement in such a way as to prevent people's constitutional rights from being vindicated, then the president can invoke the Insurrection Act in those cases. People often misunderstand what the Insurrection Act does. It does not do. It does not give the president absolute power. It does not allow him to declare martial law, for example. It does not, in fact, make anything illegal that wasn't illegal already. This policing power is only to enforce laws that were already on the books. So in that sense, it's not as broad as sometimes people imagine it is. A number of different emergency powers are either time-limited or depend on Congress coming to the rescue and giving permission after some point. The current Congress, as we know, is not inclined to say no to Trump on those things. Nonetheless, there are the courts. So expect litigation to happen if the president declares the Insurrection Act to be activated. Some of the issues that we've already had to face without the Insurrection Act are at least as knotty, at least as challenging to constitutional norms. His use of the National Guard has been so creative, not so much in D.C. where he has intrinsic extra powers because it's federal, but in things like sending National Guards drawn from other states into states that did not want them there. This raises questions of federalism, questions of state sovereignty that we haven't had to go over basically in the lifetime of anyone currently interested in the law. You have to go back to the 19th century before questions of invasions of states by other states become an issue at all. With the Insurrection Act, at least we have a track record of quite a few instances in which presidents have invoked it, as I say, typically for short periods. It's done its job or not, as the case may be, and then the presidents have withdrawn the troops. People ask, what are the chances that Trump will actually invoke this? And I will say, guessing what Trump will do is a loser's game in my experience. So I never try to guess what he will do. Psychologically, he is someone who likes to have divisible club. He likes to have the threat on hand. He likes to focus people's attention on the fact that he could be much meaner to them than he's being currently, because that puts him in the position that he likes. Now, they used to say in chess that the threat is stronger than the execution, and the insight there is that if you actually follow through on the thing, you may not be able to disconcert your opponent as much as when it was just handing over them. So that's an argument for why, in his first term, Trump preferred to have it talked about and then didn't follow through. What he'll do this time, I don't know.